What if the US government confiscated all wealth of every billionaire and taxed every dollar of income at 100%? Would that erase the national debt? Would it fix the system? The truth? Even if Washington took every penny from every billionaire, about $6 trillion, it wouldn't even cover 3 years of current deficits, or less than 1 year of operating expenses. The debt is over $38 trillion and climbing faster and faster. We are burning through nearly $2 trillion more than we take in every single year. That's not a glitch. That's by design. After World War II, the United States stood alone atop of a world in ruin. The factories were ours. The oil was ours. The dollar became the world's reserve currency. The baby boomer generation inherited the greatest economic tailwind in human history. Cheap housing, good wages, abundant energy, rising stocks, and a strong dollar. All underwritten by America's unique post-war dominance. But instead of saving, investing in infrastructure, and rebuilding like the generations before, the system evolved slowly into one of consumption, debt, and illusion. Boomers didn't design it, but they were the primary beneficiaries of it and continue to protect it. As manufacturing left, credit filled the gap. When productivity slowed, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates. When bubbles burst, it printed more money. Every crisis, from the dot-com burst to the 2008 meltdown to the pandemic, was met not with reform, but more debt. That's the hidden cost of comfort. An economy propped up not with real growth, but by monetary manipulation. Over time, institutional corruption became systemic. Lobbyists wrote the laws and regulations. Bureaucrats dutifully followed along. Politicians spent money to buy votes. And Wall Street, backed by the Fed, built a system where losses could be socialized and profits privatized. The wealth gap exploded. Wealth inequality is a result of central planning. Corporate profits soared, while real wages stagnated. And every time the debt ceiling was raised, it bought another few months of stability at the cost of the nation's long-term solvency. In 1971, Nixon closed the gold window. The dollar was no longer tied to gold. It became pure fiat, backed by nothing but faith and force, the military. That was the moment the American experiment quietly shifted from production to debt management. Since then, the debt has grown at an exponential rate. Each generation borrows from the next, leaving IOUs instead of opportunity. Now the interest payment alone is more than $1 trillion per year. Money that buys nothing, builds nothing, and feeds no one. This is larger than the defense budget, and soon will be greater than Social Security. And as America prints, the rest of the world watches. Nations are building alternatives, trading oil in yuan, hoarding gold, forming new alliances. The petrodollar, a beneficial arrangement with OPEC that once guaranteed US dominance, is losing its grip. It's not a question of if the dollar loses global reserve status. It's a question of when. This isn't about numbers. It's about trust. Every empire in history has believed it was too exceptional to fail, that it could print, spend, and borrow without consequence. But debt is gravity. It always wins in the end. The system we built, or allowed to be built, has enriched a few and indebted the many. It was enabled by central banking, political cowardice, and a public too distracted to notice. Now, the bill is coming due. Confiscating wealth won't save it. Taxing income at 100% won't save it. Because the problem isn't money. It's the system itself. The United States still has enormous potential, natural resources, talent, and innovation. But not without truth, accountability, and courage to rebuild something real. Because the clock is ticking, and the math doesn't lie.